Rain streaked down the glass walls of the private hospital like tears that refused to stop. Nurses moved quickly, quietly, as if sound itself might break the fragile life lying in the penthouse ICU. Victoria Hale, CEO, billionaire, woman who built an empire from nothing, was dying. Machines hummed where a heartbeat should have been strong. Her skin, once glowing on magazine covers, had turned pale, almost translucent. Doctors had run out of options. A rare blood disorder, aggressive and sudden, was consuming her from the inside, and no treatment had worked. Family was gone. Friends were distant. Power meant nothing here. For the first time in her life, Victoria was alone and afraid. Across town, in a small apartment with peeling paint and a flickering kitchen light, Daniel Carter was spoon-feeding his 6-year-old daughter, Lily. She giggled as mashed potatoes smeared her cheek, her laughter filling the cramped space with warmth. Daniel smiled, though exhaustion tugged at his face. Since his wife had died 3 years earlier, life had become a careful balancing act. 2 jobs, unpaid bills, school pickups, late-night tears when Lily couldn't sleep without her mom. He'd lost his savings, his house, even some friends who couldn't understand why he always said no. Still, every night, he whispered the same promise to his daughter, "We'll be okay." Fate moved quietly, almost cruelly, the night Daniel collapsed at work. Dizzy, sweating, his vision fading, he was rushed to the nearest hospital, the same one where Victoria lay dying. Blood tests revealed something unusual. Daniel's blood carried a rare marker, compatible with an experimental transfusion the doctors had been desperate to try. It was a long shot. Risky, uncertain, but it was the only chance Victoria had left. When the doctor explained it, Daniel sat in stunned silence. Donate blood to save a stranger. A powerful CEO he'd only seen on billboards. He thought of Lily. What if something went wrong? What if he couldn't work? The doctor was honest. There were risks, but they would monitor him closely. And there would be compensation. Money Daniel couldn't even imagine. Enough to change his life. Daniel didn't ask how much. He asked one question only. Will she live? We don't know, the doctor said. But without this, she won't. Daniel closed his eyes. He remembered standing beside his wife's hospital bed, holding her hand, wishing for a miracle that never came. He remembered praying someone, anyone, could help her. Slowly, he nodded. Do it. The transfusion took place just before dawn. Daniel lay on one bed, Victoria on another, separated by glass and machines, their lives connected by a thin red line. As the blood flowed, nurses watched closely. Minutes felt like hours. Then something changed. Victoria's vitals stabilized. Her breathing eased. The dangerous markers in her blood began to drop. Doctors exchanged looks of cautious hope. By evening, the impossible had happened. Victoria Hale was no longer dying. Daniel woke with a pounding headache and a weak smile. He was alive. More than that, he'd saved someone. He asked if Lily could visit him. When she ran into the room and hugged him, he held her tightly, fighting tears. He didn't know why this had happened, or what it meant, but for the first time in years, hope felt real. Victoria woke 2 days later. Confused. Alive. The last thing she remembered was pain and darkness. When her doctor explained what had saved her, she stared at the ceiling in silence. A stranger. A single dad. A man with nothing had given her everything. She asked to meet him immediately. Daniel was nervous when he entered her room. He expected arrogance, distance, maybe awkward gratitude. Instead, Victoria looked at him with eyes filled with emotion. Tears slipped down her cheeks. "You saved my life," she whispered. Daniel shrugged, uncomfortable. "Anyone would have done it." She shook her head. "No, not anyone." In that moment, something shifted inside Victoria. For years, she had believed strength meant standing alone, controlling everything. But this man, worn and gentle, had shown her a different kind of power, the kind born from love and sacrifice. Victoria insisted Daniel sit. They talked. Really talked. He told her about Lily, about losing his wife, about scraping by without complaint. She listened, truly listened, for the first time in her life without checking a phone or thinking about a deal. When he finished, Victoria reached for his hand. "You shouldn't be struggling like this," she said softly. Daniel pulled his hand back, embarrassed. "I didn't do it for money." "I know," she replied. That's why it matters. She paid his medical bills in full. She arranged a scholarship for Lily's future. She offered Daniel a job at her company. Nothing extravagant, just stable, with benefits and flexible hours. Daniel hesitated, pride warring with practicality, but Lily's smile made the decision for him. Weeks passed. Victoria recovered faster than anyone expected. Daniel started his new job. Their conversations continued, first as gratitude, then as friendship. Coffee turned into dinners, dinners into laughter. Victoria found herself waiting for Daniel's messages, caring about Lily's school projects, feeling something warm and unfamiliar bloom in her chest. But not everyone was happy. The board of directors watched closely. Rumors spread. A billionaire CEO growing close to a single dad donor. They warned her to be careful, to protect her image. Victoria listened, then surprised them all by doing nothing they suggested. For the first time, she chose her heart over her reputation. Daniel, meanwhile, struggled with his own fears. He didn't belong in Victoria's world. He wore second-hand suits to corporate events, felt out of place among polished executives. He worried Lily would get attached, only to lose another mother figure. One night, he tried to pull away. This can't work, he told Victoria quietly. You deserve someone better. Victoria laughed softly, shaking her head. I had better. It almost killed me. She told him the truth. About the loneliness behind success. About the nights she went home to empty penthouses. About realizing that when she was dying, none of her wealth mattered, only the kindness of a stranger did. Daniel looked at her, really looked at her, not as a CEO, but as a woman who had faced death and changed. I'm scared, he admitted. So am I, she said. But maybe that means it's real. The turning point came when Lily got sick with a high fever late one night. Daniel panicked, rushing her to the hospital. Victoria met them there, staying up all night, holding Lily's hand, whispering stories. When Lily finally slept, she looked at Victoria and murmured, "Are you gonna stay?" Victoria's eyes filled with tears. "If it's okay with your dad," she said. Daniel watched the scene, heart pounding. In that moment, he knew. This wasn't about status or gratitude or fate. This was family, forming quietly, honestly. Months later, Victoria stood on a small stage, not at a shareholder meeting, but at a community center. She announced a new foundation to help struggling single parents with healthcare and education. Reporters asked why. She smiled and told them a simple truth. Because someone with nothing once gave me everything. When she stepped down, Daniel and Lily waited. Lily ran into her arms. Daniel took Victoria's hand, no longer afraid of the difference between their worlds. Love hadn't come the